You are Locked On Celtics Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, that is a way you close out a 4-game road trip. Never easy to win in Denver. Celtics, impressive in the fourth quarter, end up beating the Nuggets on Tuesday night at Ball Center in Denver, Colorado, in the Mile High City, with the win over the Nuggets without Nikola Jokic. We'll touch on that, but the Celtics do go 3-1 on the road trip, now 4 of their next 5 back home at TD Garden. With that, we welcome you to our latest Locked On Celtics postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime college hoops play-by-play announcer. Watched Celtics game as a kid on a black and white TV. You are right where you need to be. You are locked on with our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, providing reaction every Celtics game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as well as the Locked On Celtics podcast feed, which you know is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. With our latest Locked On Celtics postcast, we're going to talk about a strong start in the first quarter and a strong finish in the fourth quarter for the Celtics. KP had a scare, but he also had a big game. Celtic fans, Celtics as well, relieved that it was just a shot below the belt and not a leg injury for KP when he went down during the course of the victory. How about Drew Holiday? He was strong as well for the Celtics. Not great shooting from the three-point line, but boy, did they get the points in the paint. We do want to hear from you, our everydayers and our first-timers. Join the conversation watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Hit the comment button and join the conversation. Give us your one big moment of the game. I've got mine. I'll share that coming up in segment number 2. You can follow us with the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. You can also give a follow as well on the X, formerly known as Twitter, at Lennox on Hoops, with questions, comments, or concerns. Our latest Locked On Celtics postcast brought to you by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs better with FanDuel. New customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed. Win or lose, visit FanDuel.com to get started. We will hit your comments here in just a few moments. So if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, hit the comment button and join the conversation. Plenty to talk about in the Celtics victory. Hey, nobody on the injury report until Derek White and Jordan Walsh during the early stages of the afternoon on Tuesday, both missing the game due to illness, non-COVID related, and the same for Nikola Jokic, the big man, the MVP, not in the lineup, also dealing with an illness. So both teams playing shorthanded. Celtics led by 12 after the first quarter, and Kristaps Porzingis got off to a great start. He had 15 points in the first quarter, 16 at the half, and the Nuggets had a strong second quarter. Outscored the Celtics by 12, so with that, the game tied 57-57 at halftime, and Peyton Watson had a strong second quarter. He's a player to watch. He had 8 points and a couple of blocks in that second quarter. Jamal Murray had a strong first half for Denver with 7 in the first, 8 in the second, 15 total points. Tatum had 13. I mentioned Porzingis, 15 in the first quarter, then 16 total. Jaylen Brown in that second quarter, in the first half, 2 points, both from the free throw line. And he was 0-4 from the field, 0-for-1 on the three-point line, 0-for-4 overall. Denver had 5 players in double figures in the first half. Pritchard and Holiday in the first half. I love the Celtics, and I mentioned it recently, where they're terrific going 2-for-1 in the final minute of a quarter. Pritchard had a really long three at the end of the first quarter, missed. Holiday the same, even further out on the three-point line, trying to get that 2-for-1 situation. He missed as well. I sort of cringe because on the road, you just don't want to give up those possessions. And you want to make that basket, but, try to get inside perhaps every once in a while rather than, just being on the three-point line and you're 6, 7, 8 feet from behind the line. Notice that with Pritchard, then again, Holiday in the second quarter. In that third, I really did feel like the Nuggets were going to get going and perhaps take a 6-7 point lead. They never did that. They did score the first 5 points of the fourth quarter and were able to tie the game up at 88. Hauser had an offensive rebound and a 3, Celtics up 3. Every time Denver got close in that second half at any point in time, you thought, okay, maybe the Nuggets are going to go on a run. Their largest lead was just 2 points. They did not in the second half. They did not lead at any point in the fourth quarter. That's telling for me with the Celtics. The game was tied at 93. Celtics went on a 15-0 run, and it was over from there. Now, Denver, I think, got it to 10, and you thought, okay, do they have one more run? Are they going to get this to 5? Are they going to make the Celtics sweat there? Never happened. And that was good to see, and that was telling as well for the Celtics because, again, you're on the final leg of a road trip. You're in Denver. Denver's just different. And you had a strong fourth quarter. So the blowout wins on the second games of back-to-backs, we'll touch on that. They've got one coming up, I think, next week at home. But the Celtics just played like a poised team in that fourth quarter, something they didn't do against Denver a couple of days ago. Let's hit your comments. I'm looking for some international here because we're into Wednesday, all right? We're approaching 1 a.m. Eastern time in the East. I told you I'd be up a few days ago, raring to go. This used to be my time when I worked in Bristol, Connecticut at the four-letter network ESPN. Do updates on ESPN radio, wouldn't get out till 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning, sometimes hosting SportsCenter all night. This used to be my time of the night. Now, I might hit the bed 10 p.m. if the Celtics aren't playing or the Red Sox during the baseball season. Rain checking in. And from Finland, great to see. KP was good tonight. KP was terrific. He really was. And he started off early in the game. Rain, appreciate checking in from Finland. Porzingis scored the first 5 and had 9 of Boston's first 12 points in that first quarter. I mentioned he had 15 points in the first quarter. Now, Porzingis, it was scary. Just over 2 to go in the first quarter. Had a putback at the rim, went down in a heap. Replay immediately showing. It was a lower body, but it was below the belt. It was nothing with an ankle, a knee, or anything below the knee. And that was a good sign for everyone except Porzingis because he did come back onto the floor in that first quarter. You know where I'm going with that. Took one below the belt. It happens. But overall, 3-1 trip. DJ Omega MVP, great trip, 3-1. Yeah, absolutely. In that sense of where the Celtics were. 2-0 start. Hey, a tough second half against a terrific Oklahoma City team. I will try to be in front of my TV Wednesday night for OKC in Cleveland. Someone's win streak is coming to an end. Will it be OKC in 15 in a row or the Cavaliers, I think, at 10 in a row? Doors checking in. Love it. Yeah, I mean, this was a game. I just think about it. 2-2 when you started 2-0. If you had lost to two of the top teams in the Western Conference in Oklahoma City and Denver to wrap it up, instead you go home 3-1. You've got to feel great about it. I take nothing away from what the Celtics did. Denver again had 5 players in double figures in the first half, without Nikola Jokic, without Aaron Gordon. Jokic, like White and Walsh for the Celtics, out with an illness. Now, Jokic ruled out right around an hour before the game was going to get underway. It sounded like from the TNT broadcast, Michael Malone and the Nuggets knew earlier in the day that Jokic was going to miss the game, or it was likely that he was going to miss the game. Only his 4th game missed this season, by the way. Jay Moxon. Hello from Reed Living Ball Arena in Denver. Appreciate checking in. I went Jay Moxon, but you might be saying Reed, so I appreciate that. Leaving Ball Arena. Hey, I've always loved watching Denver Nugget home games. I got a little bit of flack for what I said about OKC from Sunday. I'm not moaning and groaning about a great home court advantage. Denver, I mean, I go back to the 1980s. That was a rough place to play for an opposing team. And the other night with NBA TV, I think they had all the microphones in the arena potted up on the backboards, the rims, the crowd. What I got on OKC about was the public address announcer yelling, "I can't hear you," or "let's make some noise," or "let's make some more noise." Denver, I noticed, didn't have as much of that. That sound, that natural sound, the crowd did that all by themselves at Ball Arena in Denver. And I was looking forward to that. I was thinking about that earlier in the day and Tuesday. And Denver did not disappoint. That place can get loud. Can be a tough place to play. In the 80s, I remember it was. And by the way, Michael Malone and his staff wearing that, I don't even know what the color is, but that has been my favorite color for the Denver Nuggets. And I've loved their uniforms over the years. And I mean, we're going back to the 1980s. But the Dikembe Mutombo, Jalen Rose era, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, I think, wore them as well. That dark color, I love that color. And they had the zip tops, the three-quarter zips, with them for the Nuggets. I know I'm getting off track here, but I just reminded myself of that. And so did Reed checking in from Ball Arena. Want more of that. Want more reaction from the arenas, especially TD Garden. If you're coming out of TD Garden in the future, want to hear on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Colin checking in. He got hit. Yeah, he got hit. Yeah, he got hit below the belt. But again, as Porzingis went down, I mean, we're all relieved. Oh, okay, he just got hit below the belt. Hey, it's almost 1 a.m. Eastern. We're going to this kind of talk. We're not going any further. We're not going to cross that line. But again, relief that it was that. Not for Porzingis, but everyone else, because the way he went down, yes, serious, but it wasn't his knee. It wasn't an ankle turn. We can sort of, ha-ha with that one at this point in time. Keep the comments going if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Again, Celtics win 15-0 run in that fourth quarter. And, Drew Holiday, I was impressed with his night overall. Holiday did a lot of solid things for the Celtics. 30 or more in 3 of the 4 quarters. Scored just 20 and being outscored by 12 in that second quarter by the Nuggets. But the big number, and we do numbers of the night in segment number 3, but the big number for the Celtics, 60. And here's why. Denver is one of the best teams. Celtics and Nuggets are 2 of the top scoring teams in the league, right? We know that. We knew that coming in. But the Nuggets, number 3 in scoring, the Celtics, number 4. Nuggets scoring over 120 a game, held to 106. Nuggets number 1 in assists at 31.7 a game. Celtics had 30 assists. The Nuggets below their season average with 22. You'll take that as well. And then the Nuggets, points in the paint, 58.8% of their points in the paint. The Celtics had that line tonight. And Denver also number 1 in terms of fast break points. Fast break points, 17-11 Celtics. So a lot of the things that the Denver Nuggets are good at, and when I say good, top, number 1, number 2, top 5 in the NBA in a lot of categories, Celtics took advantage of those things. And again, that first half the other day against OKC, I love the fact that they go to the basket. John Corrales, Locked On Celtics podcast. I haven't listened, but I'm going to listen at some point here in the next 24 hours to John about those twos and the different things. He really breaks it down. So if you want to go back and listen to Locked On Celtics podcast with John Corrales from Sunday, it's worth the listen because he does break it down in terms of, hey, they got inside, but, and it was a high percentage, but John broke things down to say, okay, it went away from what the Celtics are in terms of being a three-point shooting team. But the points in the paint, without Jokic in there, I don't know that changed, but maybe that was a big part of the game plan is get inside and score. There was one TNT, I think it was in the third quarter. They had Joe Mazzulla with Jaylen Brown, and Brown had 4 for 4 in that third quarter. And he said, hey, we talked about this earlier in the day. When Jamal Murray is covering you, make sure you get the ball. Talk to the guys about that. Make sure they understand we're getting you the ball if Murray's on you. Now, Stan Van Gundy came out and said, doesn't mean that Jamal Murray is a bad defender. Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics just like that matchup if Brown had Murray on him. That was great sound right there, by the way. One more, I believe from Reed, but Jay Moxon. Would have been, see if I can get this right. I would have gone if Jokic was in there. Sorry, I don't understand what that means. Reed, you said you were coming out of Ball Arena. Hey, I would have loved to have seen Jokic. I love the fact that the Celtics going home with a victory on the final game of a 4-game road trip and go 3-1. Mike is checking in. Mike Driscoll. Mike, appreciate it, man. I know it's late. Mike, the media discourse will be C should win the game because of Nuggets injuries, when instead the story should be the C's win the game when shooting 35% from three and defense stepped up in the fourth quarter. Absolutely. Absolutely, Mike. Yeah. Again, the Celtics are starting to make some adjustments. And that's what sports is all about. Look at what teams have done against Peyton Pritchard right now. And I got to get to a break here. Way over. Way over. But keep the comments coming. Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Keep those comments coming. Yeah, I understand that. And you know, Mike, to your point, Brian Anderson, Stan Van Gundy. Van Gundy's got his detractors. I love them as a team. I think, you know, and I'll go into this with broadcaster comments and observations in segment number 2. But Van Gundy knows basketball. He knows these teams. And he might have glossed over a lot of things that Celtics fans already know watching the team game in, game out. But Van Gundy's on it, and he had some very positive things to say about Luke Cornett. We're going to get into those in the second segment. Jay Moxon, one more time. How do you think the game would have gone if Jokic, would have played? Yeah, it would have been a lot different. Absolutely. I don't know that Porzingis would have gotten off to the start that he did. And when Denver needed points, you go to Jokic. Jokic can do it all. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the guy's near a triple-double. That's what Russell Westbrook used to be. I mean, there was one season or two seasons there where Westbrook averaged a triple-double. But things would have been different. That fourth quarter probably is different. The Celtics don't go on a 15-0 run. He's an MVP for a reason. And that 15-0 run by the Celtics in the fourth quarter when the game was tied at 93 apiece, that doesn't probably happen with Jokic in the lineup. But the Celtics, very few games this season with their top 8-9 players available. I think just 2 now. That was the other day. And again, with White out of the lineup, a starter not in the lineup. We'll hit that on Numbers of the Night coming up in segment number 3 as well. You take the win and you go from there. Because right now, Dallas has Luka and Kyrie Irving out of the lineup. Celtics have the Mavericks on their next road trip, big road trip. That's the last game, I believe. I don't know either one's going to be available for that. You play the team as intact. Michael Malone's not going to make excuses for it. Joe Mazzulla's not going to make excuses for it. No NBA coach is probably going to make excuses for having, a starter or even their big players out. And Jokic is an MVP guy. So, yeah, it would have been a different game, I'm sure. Absolutely. Especially in that fourth quarter. All right. Mentioned Stan Van Gundy. Glowing reviews or glowing comments from Van Gundy on Luke Cornett. We're going to get into that next. This is the Locked On Celtics postcast. Celtics win by 12 on the road in Denver against the Nuggets, 3-1 on their road trip. As always, we do appreciate you being on with us. Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day. And we are presented by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200, $250. Get that right. $200, sorry. $200 from FanDuel in bonus bets, win or lose. FanDuel gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Visit the website and share betting lines around your team or league. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. That is $200 in bonus bets from FanDuel. Let's get into it and maybe make a little bit of a catch-up here. They want us to stay around 30, 35 minutes. Went long there. I don't blame that on you. I encourage you to continue with us. Hit the comment button on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Tip of the cap, and want to acknowledge our everydayers for making Locked On Celtics with John Corrales and the Locked On Celtics postcast their first listen every day. Not only do we tip our cap to our everydayers, we tip our cap to those of you who are with us internationally or on the East Coast right now as we are into Wednesday morning. Celtics victorious. No Nikola Jokic. Announced an hour or so prior to the game that he would not play in the game against the Celtics. And no Derek White, no Jordan Walsh for the Celtics in the final game of a road trip. I thought that was going to be important with the Celtics. And, you never want, Derek White's not a guy you want out of the lineup for multiple games. An illness, I'm not sure if they flew back to Boston earlier in the day or if they're going to be on the flight home. I would think that they would stay away. The illness is going around. You're on planes, you're in hotels. NBA teams deal with it every single year. It was worse during COVID, and they still have that illness, non-COVID related designation on the injury reports. But it was just very interesting. It'd be interesting to find out, how those guys travel back after a road trip. Mentioned Stan Van Gundy. And Van Gundy had high praise for Luke Cornett. Called him one of the most underrated backup centers in the league. Did that in the second quarter. Also talked about Cornett later in the game as well. And on Cornett and Queta, he said Queta, probably the most physical big man the Celtics have, but right now Cornett, more reliable of the two. Thought that was interesting. And again, I'll take Stan Van Gundy and what he observes about the Celtics, not seeing them game in, game out with those comments. That's why with the NBA games, I like the fact that you get them every once in a while. Now, I'm not gonna moan and groan right here, but how about this? I finish up watching Lakers-Dallas. Mavericks end a 5-game losing streak by beating the Lakers without Kyrie, without Luka Doncic. TNT goes to the studio, goes to Celtics Nuggets from Denver. I pretty much get almost the entire first quarter. Then all of a sudden, my screen goes black with the white lettering. This game is not available. How is it not available if I don't get NBC Sports Boston on NBA League Pass? I know it's national broadcast with TNT, so I should be able to continue with TNT. I shouldn't be held up. So ended up figuring it out. Second game in a row where I went to one of my devices and went through the Max app and was able to get the game on. Now, if I had known in advance, I had the game, wasn't even thinking it was going to all of a sudden, they went to a commercial, came back, screen's black. And I think I was fast forwarding it to get it to live. And all of a sudden it just said, hey, due to, NBA rules and restrictions and all these things, you're not allowed to watch this on your TV. Give me a break. So I went to my device. Ended up watching it on my phone, which I was perfectly fine with, I guess. Smiley Jogger checking in. Appreciate it. Both the Van Gundy brothers are always entertaining. I miss Jeff. Jeff apparently was in Denver. Stan gave that up, working with the Clippers now, and they're in town. So that was an interesting observation. Gave it up. I don't know. I thought to myself when he said that, I wondered out loud to myself, is he allowed in the arena? Probably not. And Jeff Van Gundy's not going to fly under the radar. If he's in the arena, people are going to know. Couple of NBA random thoughts here. Jokic did not play Western Conference Player of the Week on Monday. The reason I bring that up, Jayson Tatum was named as the Eastern Conference Player of the Week on Monday, just in case you missed that. Now, Zion Williamson, you may roll your eyes right there. Remember Zion Williamson? Out for 2 months, left hamstring injury. Returning to practice last week, listed as questionable for Tuesday's game against the T-Wolves. Last played November 6th, missed 27 games. Team 7-29. Celtics do host the Pelicans on Sunday. Will Zion be in the lineup or will he be out with another injury? Mentioned Luka, currently out for the Mavericks. Now Kyrie Irving out 1 to 2 weeks with a bulging disc in his back. Bulging disc in your back 1 to 2 weeks. I would think that's going to be longer. But the Celtics play in Dallas on January 25th. That'll be the final game of that road trip. That is another tough one. One more NBA observation. Gary Washburn, who covers the Celtics for Boston Globe, good piece Monday on the Celtics needing to add more before the deadline. Score off the bench, more athleticism. Other teams are in the same market. So we'll see what happens there with the Celtics and what they do before the deadline. I believe Mike brought it up a couple of days ago. Do the Celtics now need to add? I think with that OKC game the other day, if you can get more athletic on the wing, I don't know how you do it. I don't know what you would have to give up. I don't know what you would have to take back, maybe in a bad contract. I'm never for that. But right now, yeah, I think the thinking is the Celtics have to be active just because there might be other teams, whether it's Cleveland, the Knicks, or any of those other top seeds in the Eastern Conference. If they're going to add, you might try to add as well. Do I like this group? Hey, they started the season with this group that won the NBA title, bringing back just about everybody. Gary Washburn again, Boston Globe doing a terrific job rolling that out. Mike Driscoll, random thought, Kings coming up. Is this 5-game win streak legit for them, or is that a case of the team not used to Doug Christie calling a game, their lineup, etc.? Yeah, right now it's a honeymoon with Doug Christie, right? I was going to touch on that in segment number 3, Mike, but I'm right there with you just in terms of, what are the Kings? Now, they haven't played since Monday. They're going to have 3 full days off. Celtics will have Wednesday and Thursday off, play on Friday, so they'll be rested as well going into that matchup against Sacramento. There's a honeymoon period, right? Get rid of a coach, all that sort of, all the other NBA coaches coming out and saying he got a raw deal. Yeah, he did. Yeah. But now that team still has to play. Professional effort, that's sort of what I would describe it as. There's talent there in Sacramento. I mean, you can't think the Kings are just going to come in and, be an easy opponent on Friday. That's not the case. Celtics won by 44, I believe it was last year in Sacramento. 1-point victory against the Kings late in the regular season last spring as well. Rob checking in. Good to pull out the win. We would have lost without KP. That was an embarrassing defensive effort in the second quarter. I get caught there. I really do. Rob, I do appreciate it. You got one more. Yes, the Celtics need to add so many options out there for Springer and a pick. For example, Keon Ellis, Amir Coffey, rumored Brad checking in. It'll be interesting. Yeah, I have faith in Brad Stevens. I really do. Rob, to your first point, that defense in the second quarter, I go back and forth. Was it great OKC defense in the second half the other day against the Celtics, or were the Celtics just bad on the three-point line and just a real bad second half, scoring 27 points? It's a combination of things. Denver can score 120-plus a game. Top 5 in the NBA in that category. Get out on the break. Now, the Celtics, high shooting percentage. You can't run if you're taking the ball out of the basket. So that second quarter where they were outscored by 12, gave up 32. Atrocious defense, was better in the second half. I mean, Porzingis on that block. Denver fans and the Denver bench wanted a foul, but how about that block where Porzingis was challenged? It was on DeAndre Jordan, who, by the way, is still in the league. How about that? 36 years old. Porzingis had that block in the fourth quarter. Brown scored on the other end. And then Porzingis had a follow-up dunk. His dunk broke that 93-93 tie. The Celtics went from there, did not trail again. Holiday had a 3. KP had the assist. And again, it was a 15-0 run for the Celtics after the Porzingis block. Brown bucket to make it 93-90, three-pointer for the Nuggets. But in that second quarter, I don't know that the defense was atrocious. There was a bucket in the second quarter, and I have it in my notes. Jamal Murray, a lefty bank shot. Murray, I think, had 8 straight points at one point in that second quarter. But he had a lefty bank shot with the clock winding down, and then he hit a jumper. And, shot clock winding down like that, and he makes the bucket, you just kind of have to tip your cap to him. So, Rob, I don't know that it was atrocious defense. It was just that Denver woke up. Defense for the Celtics better in the third, certainly in that fourth quarter. And again, in that, you can say, 15-0 run, it was great defense on the other end. Denver missed some shots as well. So I think it's always a combination. It could be a mix of those two things. Bad shooting by one team, you can say good defense on the other side. The Celtics were able to limit them as well with the second chance opportunities, and we'll get into that in numbers of the night. We'll look ahead as well to the upcoming homestand that the Celtics have. But a good victory for the Celtics. Again, 3-1 on the road trip. Numbers of the night coming up, segment number 3. And our Locked On Celtics postcast. Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day, presented by our friends at Prize Picks. Basketball season heating up. We're into January now. No better place to get real money action while watching your favorite NBA stars than with Prize Picks. Whether you're a diehard fan or just love some friendly competition, Prize Picks is able to make it fun and easy to turn your basketball knowledge into cash. How does it work? Well, you pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Think Jayson Tatum, is going to go for more than 29 points. By the way, Jayson Tatum in the victory, 29 points against the Denver Nuggets, led the team in scoring. Or maybe you think Anthony Edwards is going to drop 25. Prize Picks lets you make your predictions and put your money where your mouth is in just 60 seconds. Prize Picks, flex pay option. With that, even if one of your picks doesn't hit, you can still double your money. Plus, once you hit, get your money fast, sometimes as quick as 15 minutes. It's one of the best ways to keep the games exciting. Now is the perfect time to join. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. No need to win to get that $50 bonus instantly. It is guaranteed with Prize Picks. Prize Picks, run your game. Back to the comments section. Again, if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, join it now. Hit the comment button. Now they need to put together a win streak. None of this 500 ball. They need a win streak to remind other teams they are the champs right now. Cavaliers, OKC, heads and shoulders above everyone else. Yeah, they are right now. But the Celtics are right there. I mean, you're not naming the Thunder, the Cavaliers, and then another team. It's OKC, Cleveland, and the Boston Celtics. Top three teams. Not taking anyone else out of the West right now. Not even taking the Memphis Grizzlies, who apparently Jimmy Butler doesn't want to go to. If I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, I say, okay, you know what? We played with fire. We understand that fire, you can get burned by fire. We played in that Jimmy Butler. Maybe we're going to go after Jimmy Butler. Decided not to do it. I think the Memphis Grizzlies will be better off. Butler wants everything in the sun. How can you have? He really does. I don't want to go to this place or this place. You're in Miami. Russell Westbrook, his play has fallen off a little bit, you can say, I think. And that's not a knock on Russell Westbrook. But Westbrook, a couple of years ago, when he was absolutely one of the top 5 players in the NBA, you heard about him every game. He's on the Denver Nuggets. But right now, chasing that title. And right now, Denver's in the mix. But I don't, again, without Jokic, they've got some nice pieces. Gordon is also out as well. But Westbrook understands his role as an older player now. Jimmy Butler doesn't understand that. And with his role being diminished, I think is the wrong word, lesser than what it was as a superstar, you don't get paid as a superstar anymore. All these deals, the collective bargaining agreements over the years between the Players Association and the NBA, it doesn't help older players. When you get towards the end of your career, you're not supposed to make as much money. That's why baseball contracts drive me crazy. Trying now to front load those more. I had that idea 15 years ago. Or deferred. I don't like the deferred money. But Butler, he wants everything to continue on the same level. No, he should not be paid as a superstar at this point in his career with another big contract. Pat Riley doesn't want to give it to him. And now, I don't want to go here. I'm a restricted free agent, all those different things. I'm sorry I went down that road. But with Westbrook, he just wants to play. He wants to win. He doesn't have to put up the numbers that he used to put up. And with Jokic, you're fighting a guy for triple doubles, right? Numbers tonight. Porzingis, double-double, first of the season. Finished shy of his season high at 26 against Detroit. That was in early December, but the 6th time this year that Porzingis has gone for 20 or more. And again, Jokic out of the lineup, take advantage. No White, no Walsh. Derek White a starter. 17th different lineup for the Celtics in their first 37 games Tuesday night in Denver against the Nuggets. The 5th different starting lineup in the last 8 games. 3-1 trip. Take it. Take it and run with it. Now, 14-4 on the road. Tatum, another game with 20 or more, 11 in a row. Those are the numbers of the night. What's ahead? Celtics. I want to get into the bench here real quick before we get into what's on tap. And we lost our board here. Let's put that back up there. There we go. Strong start, great start to the first quarter, up double digits after one. 3-1 road trip, shorthanded without White and Walsh off the bench. Strong finish with that fourth quarter. As we recap numbers of the night, now it's back to Boston for the Celtics. Was there one more comment there? Rob, one more time. Mike, actually, I give Westbrook so much credit. Yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to. He plays his role, and when he plays with Jokic, it's great. And we missed out, but that's all right. Denver will be in Boston, I think, in early March, Brian Anderson said on TNT. Jokic is great. He needs to take care of the ball better. Yes, still turnover prone, and that's probably not going to change at this stage in his career. But, yeah, and you know what? Westbrook understands. You know what? I'm not the player I was 4 or 5 years ago. But he also, you have to understand, Westbrook could have taken that fourth quarter over. He's still very much capable of doing that. And you get him in a playoff series, he's still dangerous. He can still do things on his own. Rob, one more. Westbrook played better than Murray. Yeah, Murray's fallen off a little bit. At 8 straight in that second quarter, I alluded to that earlier. He gave Denver fight, energy, and that's what we needed on Boston. There's a lack of energy infusion when Peyton Pritchard isn't hot. I'd love an athletic energy bench wing. Yeah, and that's, again, alluded to the Boston Globe article from Mr. Washburn from Monday of being able to put something together on the trade market for the Celtics here before the deadline, which is, right around a month? A little over a month away in February before the All-Star break as well. So numbers of the night, getting into what is next. Back home now, 3-1 trip, 4 of the next 5 at home. And that one road trip in this 5-game stretch in Toronto against the Raptors, that's go north of the border and pick up another victory against Toronto. Kings in town. Sacramento in town, 5-game win streak. We'll see if it's for real. But they're going to be rested. Haven't played since Monday. Home against the Pelicans, possibly Zion Williamson on Sunday. I don't know if Williamson makes any. I'm more tongue-in-cheek that Zion Williamson might play on Sunday. That's it. There's a lot that could happen between now and Sunday for the Pelicans and Celtics matchup at TD Garden. I mentioned the Raptors road game next week. Home and home, 17th and 18th, or back-to-back, rather, both at home against the Magic and the Hawks. That Orlando matchup, hey, you want to beat them after they've already beaten you in Orlando, that in December. But that's also the midpoint in the regular season. That is game number 41. Then the 4-game trip. After that, it gets a lot easier for the Celtics. Warriors, Clippers, Lakers in Los Angeles, back-to-back nights, and then the Mavericks, who could be without both Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Back to Sacramento, Celtics 144 in a win at Sacramento, December of 2023, 1-1 against the Kings last April in Boston. And Celtics have won 6 in a row in the series against the Sacramento Kings. But again, they come in on a 5-game win streak. That wraps it for us as we have reached and passed 1 a.m. Eastern Wednesday morning. Told you we were going to do this. Hope you had fun. I certainly did, and I appreciate everyone coming on board and making a contribution with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. Couple of days off for the Celtics. Deserved 48 hours or 2 days off. Back in action at TD Garden against the Kings on Friday night. We are going to be with you within minutes of the final buzzer of Sacramento and the Celtics from TD Garden Friday night in Boston. We do want to thank you, as always. Again, appreciate the contributions. And by the way, one more number of the night, as I've got your attention here, over 1,000. Over 1,000 views on our Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel from Celtics OKC Thunder from Sunday. That is a milestone for us. I thank you 100% because we're hitting some numbers here that we haven't hit before, and we want to continue to build on those throughout the rest of the regular season. Again, we thank you for making Locked On Celtics with John Corrales and the Locked On Celtics postcast your first listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel as well. Locked On Sports Boston, number one place to hang out immediately after every game. Locked On Sports, your team, your Celtics every day.